Let me say something uncomfortable. Hard work didn't make you rich. And if you're honest with yourself, you already know that. I've met people who worked harder than I ever did, longer hours, more sacrifice, less sleep, and they're still worried about money, still anxious about the future, still one bad year away from panic. So if you spent your life grinding and you're wondering why it didn't pay off the way you were promised, this is for you. Here's the pattern I've watched for decades. People are told, work hard, keep your head down, everything will work out. So they do. They say yes to more hours, they take pride in being busy, they confuse exhaustion with progress. And then one day they wake up at 50 or 60 and realize something terrifying. They're tired, but not secure. They did everything right, at least everything they were told. And still the margin for error is thin. One health problem, one market drop, one job loss, and the whole plan shakes. If that makes you uncomfortable, good, because pretending hard work is enough is how people stay stuck. Here's what I learned over decades of building companies, making decisions, and watching careers play out. Hard work is not a wealth strategy. It's a starting condition. By the end of this, you'll understand why effort without leverage keeps people trapped, why some people get rich working less, and what actually matters if you still want progress at any age. Lesson 1. I stopped believing effort was the point. I worked hard early in my life, very hard, but not blindly. What mattered wasn't how many hours I worked, it was where those hours went. I wasn't rewarded for effort, I was rewarded for solving problems that scaled. I watched people give everything to jobs where the reward was capped. Same pay, same ceiling. Same dependency on showing up every day. That's not wealth, that's survival with better branding. Here's the question you need to ask yourself. If I stop showing up, does the value stop too? If the answer is yes, you're being paid for effort, not ownership. Lesson 2, I chose leverage over loyalty. This is where people get emotional. They confuse loyalty with security. I've seen people stay in roles that rewarded them with praise, but not equity, not ownership, not freedom. They felt indispensable and were still replaceable. Leverage changes the equation. Code scales, system scale, capital scales, time does not. If your income depends entirely on your presence, you don't own your future, you rent it. Lesson 3, I learned that busyness is often avoidance. Busy people feel productive, but busyness often hides fear. Fear of thinking, fear of changing. Fear of admitting the current path won't get you where you want to go. Some of the worst decisions I've seen were made by people who never slowed down long enough to question direction. I forced myself to think deeply and quietly. That's where real breakthroughs come from. If your calendar is full but your finances aren't improving, stop adding tasks, start subtracting illusions. Lesson 4, I focused on outcomes, not sacrifice. People romanticize suffering, late nights, missed weekends, burnout worn like a badge of honor. But sacrifice without results is just wasted life. Nobody pays you for how much you suffered. They pay you for outcomes that matter. I optimized for impact, not martyrdom. If something costs you everything and gives little back, it's not noble. It's inefficient. Lesson 5. I understood that time punishes the wrong strategy. When you're young, mistakes are forgiving. When you're older, they compound. Hard work without leverage becomes more dangerous over time. Less energy, less flexibility, less runway. That's why urgency without clarity destroys people later in life. The older you get, the more important it is to protect downside. Now, let me bust a few myths. You were told work harder and you'll be rewarded. That's wrong. You're rewarded for value, not effort. You were told if you love what you do, money will follow. Also wrong. Plenty of people love their work and stay broke. And you were told hard work builds character. Maybe, but character doesn't pay bills. Strategy does. Here's a simple framework to remember. Stop confusing effort with progress. Audit where your income really comes from. Leverage skills, systems, and ownership. Protect your downside as you age. Focus on fewer moves, but better moves. Hard work didn't make you rich, and it won't, not by itself. Effort is fuel, but without a steering wheel, you just burn out faster. If you want more hard lessons without the sugarcoating, subscribe and don't miss the next one.